Damien O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will take a second call on this. It is a substantive part of the bill. I just want to refer to two parts, and I know people listening to this will be probably a bit confused as to why we're kind of going round in circles a bit. It is because there's so many contradictions in this bill and so many significant precedents and issues relating to the next set of dairy industry reforms around possible recapitalisation. Mr. Speaker, the issue of the definition of a dairy farm that was referred to by the chairman there, it is really important, and it's just a little subclause in here, but that in fact is absolutely crucial as we go forward. Who owns a dairy farm? Who then is entitled to shares in Fonterra? Where the milk goes? These are all absolutely vital components of any change around the dairy industry. The unique part about dairying, this is the biggest industry in the country and is the only industry substantively fully owned by New Zealanders. And that's a disgrace, actually, to the fact that all the others are owned, for the most part, by foreigners. This is one that remains in New Zealand's hands. So the definition of dairy farm and thereby a dairy farmer will be absolutely essential. And Mr. Ardern, I know, understands the significance of this. And so what I say is that take note of the definition here, and in any amendments to it going forward, we have to make sure that it serves the purpose for which we want and demand from legislation. That's the protection of and the betterment of New Zealand. The next point is the Commerce Commission. The trigger that we talk about, if the threshold, which we're changing, so we're getting round and round here, the threshold that we're changing would have, if not changed, triggered the Commerce Commission and the Minister to investigate the issue of competition in the New Zealand market. And that's been pushed out effectively. But in pushing that out to ensure ongoing supply to domestic producers or other independent processors, we have at the same time an investigation by the Commerce Commission. So this is kind of bizarre. We have the Minister announcing a review, the Minister saying there'll be other legislation coming forward most likely, and the Commerce Commission undertaking an inquiry, not an investigation yet, but an inquiry as to whether they should have an investigation into the issue of competition. So all these things are going on, and we're pushing this piece of legislation through, which again, in summary, must be called an academic exercise. Can I go back to the substantive issue of the Commerce Commission asking the question whether there is competition in the New Zealand market for milk products, for milk, and for the benefit of consumers? That's the first, I think, focus and priority that we have. In terms of competition offshore, I'm less concerned about that. I think we have to have collaboration and cooperation and coordination in our offshore sales and marketing. That should occur. And for those companies who are independent and think they can go out there and beat up on Fonterra or beat up on one another, then just look over the fence at the meat industry and take some lessons from that. But in terms of competition for domestic supply and production of milk products, then there is a question, and I urge the Commerce Commission to be brave, to front up. They do it every now and then, not very often I have to say, to front up and undertake an inquiry into the way that the milk is distributed to well-meaning, innovative domestic suppliers of milk products. And I welcome that. That's what we need here, so that consumers aren't paying more than they should be. But in terms of the export supply, then the ministers should be undertaking, he's indicating he's looking at it again, and I think most of the dairy industry, along with Labor, are fully supportive of that move. Mr. Chairman, I take issue with some of the snide remarks from the members over there. There's a sound understanding of primary production, of its value, and of the way it operates within the Labor Party. Believe me, Mr. Speaker. In fact, far better than the National Party. Most of the good legislation in this Parliament has been passed by a Labor government, and I stand on that record, Mr Speaker. Mr Coleman should do some history lessons, and he'd find that out as well.
Ian Lees-Galloway.